Hello. Hi, and welcome. Professor CROS, BSc. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the launch party for DataFest 2017. This is Kunal, your host for the evening. We'll start this session shortly. Just a quick check. Am I audible, loud, and clear to everyone? Great. Thanks everyone. Good to see you all. Very excited to launch DataFest 2017 in front of our community, in front of the crowd, in front of each and every one of you. We have an exciting agenda for the evening, and I'll just get started with that. So to start with, we so I'll, yeah, am I visible to everyone? Yeah, good to see you all. Really excited to be here on this evening. There is a lot we have done in last 4 years, and really excited to have this interaction in the forum, which we have planned for the evening. To start the evening, I'll just lay out the agenda. I'll start with a brief introduction about AV's journey till date. What have we done in the last 4 years? What is the plan for DataFest 2017? So I'll cover the competitions which are coming up, the webinars which are planned out, and then we'll move to the panel discussion for the evening. We have a great panel comprising of people from academia, from industry, and some of the best data scientists on analytics Vidhya, and I'm sure you're excited to hear about them. While I'll start you can use the Q&A platform to ask your questions. Once the forum is open to Q&A, we'll start taking them. If you want to address them to any of the panelists, make sure that you address it to them, and then we'll pick up the best questions and get them answered through the panel. Right, so let me quickly start with the session. Right, so as I said, really excited about DataFest 2017. This is our signature event, which we do once every year to mark our anniversary. So April this year, we complete 4 years, and it has been a phenomenal journey. We reached actually we received more than 1 million visits on Analytics Vidhya earlier this year, and then to see that journey from kind of the small setup in the small room I started with to take it to this place is just amazing, and then we'll cover that journey today very, very briefly. So to start with, I mean, there is only one thought which is kind of going through my mind right now, and then that kind of describes what we have been through, what the community has seen. So very early days when I started Analytics Vidhya, there were only a set of people who were kind of who understood what I was trying to do. Most of the people I met or I told what I was doing didn't necessarily appreciate it too much, but I kept going. I kept building what we were building. We had a great team. There was a good community support which started kicking in once people saw the kind of things we were doing. And today, as we stand, we are one of the largest community across the globe. So if I kind of reflect back on the last 4 years, the only thing I can say is, if you're really passionate about something, just go for it. Don't listen to people, and don't bias yourself by listening to people. With that, I'm sure you know this already, but to just quickly introduce Analytics Vidhya. So Analytics Vidhya is one of the largest analytics and data science community today. As I said, we get about 1 million visits on the site month on month, with more than 50,000 registered users. All of you would have registered on Analytics Vidhya. There are various touch points through which we come in touch with community, starting from the blog, the discussion portal, the hackathons, JAWs, meetups, learnups, and then we hope to take these engagements to the next level in the coming year. In addition to that, we have now got close to 50 volunteers who are helping us build the community. So earlier this month, we did AV Express across India, and we got a set of volunteers in 4 cities now who are very excited about doing these events at their own local cities, and then we are very excited to have them as part of our team. Right, so this one graph kind of summarizes the journey we have been through. So April 2013, I started analytics with the in form of a personal blog. Uh, for those of you who don't know, so before starting analytics with I'd worked in analytics and data science for about 8 years, and back in 2013, I started analytics with because I felt that there was an ecosystem missing where people can come and talk to other analytics and data science professionals. Thereafter, we continued building analytics with as a knowledge platform. We started getting some traction, seeing people coming back. To January 2015, when we actually launched the discussion portal on the site, because people were we saw a lot of engagement coming out through comments on analytics with there. So we said that let's add a discussion portal. And then in July 2015, actually before that, in April, we started doing meetups across countries, across India. And then when we were doing this meetup, we said that competitions are probably the best way to give people a data science challenge in a short time and get the best out of them. So July 2015, we started doing hackathons. So the hackathon platform launched. And then April 2016, we did a DataFest 2016, where we brought all the competitions together. We floated new formats of competitions, and today, 1 year after, I am again back with DataFest 2017, which is much larger, much more eventful, and then I'm sure you'll see some more details shortly. Right, and finally, we launched our job portal earlier this year. If you have not checked it out, do check out. The idea is to bring niche specific jobs for our community members and pass on the kind of engagement you do on analytics with their back to the employers. So if you're participating in our competitions and hackathons, the employers would see your engagement and motivation, and that should help them identify the right candidates for these jobs. So really excited about DataFest 2017, about our community, and then you would have seen these numbers already somewhere. But so we get 1 million visits month on month, about 500,000 unique visitors. We have done close to 100 contests and have more than 30,000 Facebook likes. People use our competition platform to hire, to solve problems through community, and in various other ways. So today, if you are a data scientist, you can engage on analytics with there through various engagement points, starting from discussions, hackathons, the various skill tests, blogs, and then various learning paths. So I won't go too much into the detail because we have a very exciting panel, and I'm sure a lot of you already know this, but the idea is that whatever you do on analytics Vidhya is building your professional identity, and then we'll make sure that you get the benefit in terms of the right jobs, the right trainings, the right engagement, getting in touch with the right people through this platform. Right, so just to kind of bring back some of the past memories of this journey which we have traveled. So I thought before getting into the panel discussion, it would be good to kind of just look at how the journey has been. And then that's what I'll do through a few snapshots and a few photographs. How many of you remember this site? So this was the first version of Analytics Vidhya which went live. So this is the screenshot as of November 2013. But this is how the first version of the site looked like. You can see me and Tavish. So Tavish was the first person to come after me and say that he believes in the idea and he wanted to write on the article. So I and Tavish started doing these activities. Shortly after Sunil joined, so Sunil Ray was the next person to join the team with the same vision. I'm not sure if you would remember this. How many of you would have seen this? So this blog post came out 6 months into analytics, Vidhya. August 2013. This was a blog which I posted on 27th of August, which told the world. So basically, I became a father that day. So it was like taking care of two babies simultaneously. But as I said, the journey has been phenomenal, and then both the babies are doing well. This is how the office looked like in initial days. So my room, so my office and my home used to be at the same place. You can see my daughter at the same office, and she ensured that I did not. I was always around, and I did not spend more time. She ensured that I ensured a lot of time with the. This is our first meetup which we did in Delhi. So again, April 2013. So this is how the meetup started. Again, a small room, the community getting together to solve a specific problem. And shortly thereafter, we moved to a new office. So this was just a night before we moved to the new office. You could see a corridor there, which we used to play cricket and darts. So this happened about a year back. And over the last year, we've got an awesome team. We had interns through the summer. We have done meetups across the country. So here are some snapshots with the meetups, with the volunteer groups, and the community is. I can see it growing by the day. So that's how the journey happened. So what started from a small room in Gurgaon is now a community which reaches out to 1 million people month on month. People use analytics for their knowledge needs, for their career needs, and then we are very excited for what's coming ahead. What next? And I'm sure you would have seen some of it already. So in the next 30 days, we present our largest online analytics festival. So you can expect competitions, webinars, meetups. So meetups we have already done, but there are several competitions coming up. We have launched the volunteer program, so expect some actions happening in each of the volunteer group. This is how the competitions are coming up. So the first competition which gets launched is immediately after the launch party today. So we will have practice problems going live. We will have our first machine learning hackathon tomorrow evening, so 6 p.m. India time. The machine learning hackathon starts. If you haven't registered, make sure you register. And then throughout the month, there are various competitions on various subjects, including 2 more machine learning hackathons, skill tests on machine learning and deep learning. So really excited about all of this. This time, a big difference compared to the last DataFest. So we have, we not only have prizes for individual competitions, we have prizes for overall winner of DataFest. So each competition carries a weight, and the person who gets the highest score across all these competitions will take away prizes worth 1,80,000 rupees. So So make sure that you participate in as many competitions as possible. Even if you don't do well in one or two competitions, there is enough to come back, win another competition, and then come back on the top of DataFest leaderboard. So DataFest 2017 leaderboard would be live as soon as we finish our first few competitions, and you can use it to track how you are doing on various competitions. Right, here is a calendar of various activities which you can download from DataFest site. In summary, there are more than 10 competitions going live. There are various sessions which leaders in industry are taking. The panel discussion which follows shortly is a step in that direction. And there are more prizes worth more than $10,000 up for grabs. Right. With that, let me kind of get back to the panel discussion. Before we do that, let me introduce a quick poll to the audience so that people can listen to the poll, or people can see the poll. So what you'll see next is a poll where you'll see a few questions about yourself. Try and answer those questions. So I've just launched a poll, and you should be able to see the poll now. Great, thanks a lot. I'll just wait for 10 more seconds for people to finish, and then we'll come back to the. So I'm just finishing the poll. Great, I'll keep the answers for now. And the idea is to kind of go through the panel discussion and see how it happens again. And I'll do that, right? So let me quickly do one more thing. So before bringing in the panelists, let me put the session live on Facebook. Just give me a minute. I'll broadcast the session to our Facebook page as well. Just right. So with that, let me set the tone for the panel discussion. And in order to do that, I'll just ask a few questions to the audience. You can answer them, and then and let's see who answers it first. So the first, here goes the first question. So and then you can answer through the chat window. So which was the first machine to win a chess competition against a grandmaster? So which was the first machine? So I can see IBM Watson. No, that's not the answer. IBM Deep Blue is the answer. DeepMind is not the answer. So Melvin Josie gave the first answer. Thanks. Next question. So in which year did AlphaGo beat a human player to achieve supremacy in Go? Again, a mix of answers. Someone going back to 1974. The answer is 2015. So there were two gentlemen who coined the term data scientist. One of them was DJ Patil. Who was the second person? I'll repeat the question. So there were two people who coined the term data scientist. The first one was DJ Patil from LinkedIn. Who was the second person? Right, Jeff is the right answer. So thanks. So no, it wasn't Andrew NG. And finally, one last question, and we'll move to the panel discussion. Microsoft launched a Twitter bot, AI Twitter bot, which started misbehaving. What was the name? So Shyam has already given the answer. Great. So thanks a lot for that small quiz. Let me quickly come to the panel discussion now. Right. So so the idea behind this panel discussion was to, if I just step back and see what are the most common queries we get on Analytics Vidhya or in any of the portal where we go or any engagement we do is typically, what's the best way to learn data science? And it keeps coming back in various shapes and forms. Starting from how do I become a data scientist, to which course should I take, what are some of the projects I can do to get into data science, or if I spend some time in data science, how do I get a good ranking in competitions like the ones which Kaggle hosts, or with the hackathons which we host. And we thought that this discussion should be a good way to kind of answer some of those questions, and that's where we brought this panel together. So we have a very good mix of people. So and then I'll introduce them one by one. So let me start with introducing these people, and at the same time bringing them on board for the panel discussion as well. So the first panelist for the day is Sudalai Rajkumar Akka SRK, as you would know. So SRK is one of the top data scientists from India. He's a lead data scientist at Freshdesk. He has more than 7 years of experience in data science and has worked across various domains. Needless to say, he is an active participant of Analytics with their community and also currently holds first rank. He's also a Kaggle Grandmaster and one of the top 30 Kagglers across the globe. So put your hands together for Sudalai. I'll just bring him on board. Just give me a minute. Right. Welcome, SRK.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, Kunal.
Hey.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is doing fine.
Yeah.
Nice to be part of this panel discussion. Yeah. I mean, are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah, just to be a bit louder.
Okay. Fine. Yeah. Sure. I hope now it's better.
Yeah, better. That's good. Right. So.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Firstly, and congratulations for the, fourth anniversary as well as this AV DataFest, and thanks for giving me an opportunity to be the part of this discussion as well.
Sure. Thanks, SRK. SRK, people are asking.
Okay, I am not able to start the video because it says the host has stopped it.
You should be able to do it now. Are you able to do it?
Not really. Okay, I'm still getting that you can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
Okay, just give me a minute. Let me check. Should allow you to do it. Just give me a minute. You're not able to see the video?
Okay, I'm able to see your video,
Sure.
but say,
Not.
yeah, there is a start video icon at the left bottom. So when I'm clicking on that one, so it says not start your video. Probably you can add one more guy. I mean, the next
Let me
panelist
see.
as well,
Sure.
and then
Okay. Let me see. So with that, I'll introduce the next panelist. Shekhar. Shekhar is again a seasoned advanced analytics professional. Shekhar Jadhav. He has more than 12 years of experience across domains. His experience ranges from design, development, and delivery of high-performance analytics solutions. His areas of expertise include machine learning, data science, big data analytics, and scalable machine architecture. He has led multiple Fortune 500 clients covering functional areas of marketing, customer operations, and enterprise finance. With that, I'll bring Shekhar as well on the panel. Shekhar, can you raise your hand? Yeah. Thanks, Shekhar. And then, sorry, I think I was not able to see you clearly. Yeah, welcome, Shekhar. Shekhar, are you also facing the same problem as SRK?
Yeah, I think it's the same problem, Kunal. I'm also facing the same problem.
Okay, okay. And we are able to hear you, but looks like your video feed is also not. Just give me a minute.
But anyways, I mean, I think, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you try once again the video feed?
Let me try and do that. No, I still get that error.
Okay.
It says you can't start your video because post has stopped it. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe some settings. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Let's continue with the discussion in that case. Right. So let me.
So Kunal, thanks for getting me in, and
Yeah.
hello everyone, Shekhar, and really great to be here with interacting with all of you guys. And this is my first time in forum. I'm looking forward to a lot of contribution from all the panelists as well as a lot of questions from you guys. And let's see if we can make this discussion very interactive and fun.
Sure. Thanks, Shekhar. Just a small request, Shekhar and SRK. So while you're not speaking, just if you can put the.
Yeah, sure, Kunal. Yeah, we'll follow the same.
Sure. Okay. Thanks for that. So let me call the next panelist, Professor Bappaditya, or Professor Bappa as we call him. So he's a PhD in financial economics from ISI Delhi. He is also currently director at PGPBA program from Great Lakes Institute of Management. Prior to joining Great Lakes, he was with NIILM, MDI, and IDF. He's also a visiting faculty at University of Ulm in Germany. In the past, he has been a visiting faculty at SPGen Center of Management, Singapore and Dubai. And I am Kolkata, I am Bangalore, and I am Lucknow. So let me bring Professor Bappa in the panel. Just give me a minute. Professor Bappa, if you can raise your hand, it would help me identify you. Professor Bappa, are you with the username Lenovo by any chance? Just a minute. I'm trying to identify Professor Bappa. Okay, sure. Thank you. So, Professor Bappa, welcome and good to have you again. Yeah, Professor Bappa, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can
you
hear me?
We can hear you as well. Welcome, Professor Bappa, for the evening, and then thanks for coming on the panel.
Thank you, and thanks Kunal for inviting me, and thanks everyone who has taken their Saturday evening off, listening to some of us. One thing I will probably bring different to the whole panel is my guess is the sum total of the age of all other panelists will be less than mine. So I'm an old school guy, so you have to bear with my old ideas a little bit, right? So I'm not a data science guy, so I'm really an old intuition guy. So hopefully I'll try and fit it into the discussion to the extent I can.
No, I'm sure we'll benefit immensely from your experience. With that, let me call the final panelist, Bishwaroop Bhattacharjee. So Bishwaroop is a data scientist with more than 7 years of cross-industry experience. He's currently working with VMware as a senior business analyst. He's very passionate about machine learning and aspires to build products in future to influence or facilitate complicated business decisions. He's also currently ranked 13 on Kaggle. He has been at an all-time high of rank 9. In his spare time, he loves to play badminton and listen to music. So with that, I'll welcome Bishwaroop as well. Bishwaroop? Yeah, welcome Bishwaroop. Can you hear us?
Hey Kunal, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Welcome Bishwaroop for the panel discussion.
Yeah, thanks Kunal. So first of all, congratulations on this great achievement and accomplishments. And so there are a lot of startups in India today coming up, right? So but yours is special in the way that it helps the community at large, and as you grow, we grow. So thanks for that, and congratulations one more time, and thanks all the people who are here at this moment present with us. And we look forward to hear from all of you. So thanks for providing me the opportunity to be with you guys today. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Bishwaroop. So let me come to the agenda to start with, and then I'll just lay out how I thought it would be best to structure the discussion. So what I thought was, let's divide the audience in 3 groups. So let's start the discussion with keeping beginners or people who have less experience in data science industry to start with, and then we'll again look at audience who are already in analytics, and then an audience who wants to use analytics as a business user and not necessarily wanting to get into too much of technical details. So let's start with the beginner audience in mind, and so I'll want to start with a question that what do you think the industry expects from a beginner data scientist? So someone who doesn't have a lot of experience, specifically in data science or analytics. So when such a person wants to get into the industry, what do you think industry expects from them, and what is the best way to kind of achieve those things? So Professor Bappa, it would be great to start with your perspective. You've been, trying to, you've been interacting with people who want to get into industry and who really want to learn the subject. So it would be great to start with your perspective on that question.
Okay. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, and I'm not visible, right? That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
That's great. Now, ideally, I'm probably not the best guy to answer this question because I'm not from the industry. However, when we started the PGPB analytics program, we precisely went and asked the industry this question: that what is it that you guys need, so that we can design a program accordingly. So one of the things they told us, and we kind of picked up that point, is we need somebody who can understand the business problem well. Okay, we can understand the problem well. So they were primarily looking at, if you look at a large number of people whom the analytics industry needs, is guys who can understand what the client is saying, and the client is not going to talk in the terms which you have been trained to. So the client is not going to use any term like classification or regression or any term. Okay, they will use a very simple statement that mera sales barado, increase my sales. Now that has to be translated properly to your analytics team. Okay, so what you basically need is being able to look at a problem, being able to formulate that, and then make it and give it in a shape so that it can be solved in the language you're comfortable in. So that's one of the things which we got, from the industry about 4 or 5 years back when we were trying to visualize how should a program look. My guess is that still hasn't changed a whole lot, in the sense that the appreciation for the intuition, the appreciation for formulating the business problem is still pretty much there. Now, as we move along, maybe solving this problem requires some additional skills, and some of them would be happy if those skills are also there. Okay? But perhaps my 2 bits would be there, and maybe others would have a much better opinion because they are directly on the receiving end of the industry, so maybe they can answer better.
Sure. Thanks for that insight, Professor Bappa. Shekhar, I think it's best to ask that question to you next, given your experience on the business side, and that kind of leads from where Professor Bappa kind of made his first point.
Right. So Kunal, if we are specifically talking for freshers, right? And if I have to hire freshers today, I would basically be hiring in, let's say not 1 or 2 freshers, but I usually would hire maybe 10 or 20 people at a time for freshers kind of job profile, right? So the main thing I'm looking for, or as I feel the industry is looking currently, is the ability to handle data. Okay, the ability to handle noisy data, inconsistent data, ability to handle data in large volumes and variable. So maybe I'm not looking at a person who understands ridge regression methods or maybe some deep learning techniques, etc. For a fresher. But I want a person who can really be very comfortable with handling data, understand data quality, understand what that data can actually be used for, how to massage that data, how to get more information out of that data, and be very comfortable with working around or manipulating that data. So irrespective of the tool set that the person is using, so whether the person is using R, whether the person is using Python, whether the person is using SPSS, I don't really care about that, because that's really next step to kind of move towards a common agreed enterprise tool. But really, whichever tool you are using, you should be very, very comfortable in actually handling data. And sometimes I've hired people who have no skills on Python or R, but are very, very good at Excel also, simply because they have the ability to talk to the data, right? So I'm looking for people in the fresher zone who can talk to the data and be comfortable with that. So in a nutshell.
Sure. And then do you look at their past projects or experience? I mean, how do you people get themselves into that zone?
Right. So once I basically clear them from a basic data management perspective, or my understanding of how comfortable they are with data, then I move into more business zone, as Professor mentioned over there, saying that then I go into understanding what kind of projects they have done, if they have been some internships in their masters or maybe PhD program or any other program, maybe they are MBAs who have passed out, and maybe they have done some business internship. So I would like to understand, okay, what they did in the internship, what projects they have worked on, or if they have been on competitions like Kaggle or some hackathons that Analytics Vidhya has hired that have kind of made. So then I try to understand from a business perspective what was the problem, how good the person was able to dissect the problem into from a business perspective, break it into smaller chunks, and from those smaller chunks actually convert it into a technical problem, and then convert it to a data problem, right? So then that journey is something that I try to probe. And if the dots are connecting properly, then depending upon how smart the person is able to convey this across, either he can be suitable for a fresher job or a little bit more experienced kind of a profile. And then obviously you have the top end profiles, which are really accomplished data scientists who actually are supposed to do the architecting of a data analytics project, right? So that part is somewhere on the data scientist, core data scientist skills, where we are looking for people who have that ability to connect the dots, not just on the problem pieces, but when the problem pieces are brought together, then how does this actually affect the end user, and how does it actually affect the business, right? And then ability to do that in a very scalable manner, in practical manner. We are not running research companies, right? So there has to be a lot of agility in whatever we do, right? So that practicality, that business sense is what we are looking for when you go a little bit more higher in the curve, right?
Sure. Okay. Thanks, Shekhar. So, Bishru, I'll address the kind of logical next action to this. So, what is your experience? What do people expect from freshers, and then what do you think is the best way to upskill themselves? And especially, you've been in so many competitions. So what's your experience on this question?
Kunal, I think the problem, from freshers, what the companies expect, it depends, because it depends on the fact that what kind of company you are trying to work for, right? So suppose if you are trying to work for Amazon, Flipkart, or this kind of companies, or Google, Microsoft, as a fresher, I don't think they will test your deep knowledge in a particular language or deep data science methods, but what they will test is your thinking capabilities. How do you actually approach a particular problem? So they will not test you for the machine learning algorithms, but they might provide you with a simple example, and they might want to assess how actually you go about solving that problem. Okay, because in this type of companies, more often than not, they they develop or they implement solutions that are developed from very scratch, that does not depend on the any other different available solutions in the market at this moment. They want you to build solution from the very scratch. So at this point, what becomes very necessary is your problem solving capabilities. So this is at one hand, and on the other hand, if you're joining particular consulting firms, for example Deloitte, or there are several other consulting firms, right? So at that point, you will be potentially talking to and interacting to a lot of stakeholders, clients who are not from the data science background, right? So so what they want from you is like you are good at presenting whatever you insights get from the data. Okay, so they want you to good with Excel or some other type of stuff like Tableau, ClickView, whatever is there, and some kind of experience in R or Python where they can do the basic work. They also provide you with extensive training program once you join. So for a fresher, I do not think that you need to be very very well oriented with the data R and Python and have very deep knowledge in them. But I think what you should try to look at different problems and try to solve that. Think about that. How you solve that. So
Sure.
yeah, I think that's from my standpoint is necessary, and it highly depends on what kind of company you are trying to work for.
Sure. And very briefly, how would you suggest people to develop that approach, or kind of help themselves out with some of those areas like problem solving and presenting skills?
So the thing is that before thinking of machine learning algorithms, think of algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Because before machine learning came into the picture, people were trying to automate different things. They're trying to find different type of algorithms to solve a problem, and a particular problem can be solved from different from different standpoints. So what matters these days are like who is solving the problem more efficiently. Okay.
Yeah.
The time complexity matters very much here. So read about this kind of problems. Like there are a lot of if you go to HackerRank, if you go to a platform like Top Coder and everything, and like you spend like 2 hours or 3 hours every weekend just by coding a few and trying those things on. Okay, it builds the capability in you to think in proper way. I mean, they will accept your answer and they will just provide you with a score which does not only assess your problem solving capabilities, but also how you actually approaching the problem. You can solve it in whatever language you are. So there are people asking about, if I am from like a software development background, what should I do? So you can go into, and I think once you are from software development background, you have got knowledge in either C or C++ or Java. So they have also options in this kind of languages. So you can go in their websites and look for this particular problems, like where they're actually looking for a particular algorithm from you and not the machine learning. So that will, I think, that will be the first to think in that line, and then you can develop the capabilities going ahead. Yeah. Sure.
Thanks for that detailed answer, Vishnu. SRK, what is your experience? So what does the industry expect for someone who is getting in, or what are some of the things you typically test people when you hire people, especially at the lower?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Kunal. So yeah, it's very tough when you talk at the last. So I understood that very well now. So like most of the people covered all the answers, like both Professor Bafa and Shekhar covered from a business perspective, and Bhattacharya from the other perspective, technical perspective as well. So okay, so I'll just say like what typically how the interviews when I take, or like when I ask for happen. So like say when the person is a kind of a fresher, so without like say fresher meaning someone from a bachelor's, not someone from a master's in analytics or someone like that. So say like a fresher. So then it is more like so they might not be involved much in the data science field. So and then the testing part would be more on the aptitude side as well as from the mathematical side. So say some basics of probability questions and so on to identify like how good are they in the aptitude side of things. So and also some basic case studies, so more from the business perspective to see like how the people exactly think. So which Bhattacharya also mentioned. So like say like how the person is approaching a business problem. So like say given a business problem, is he able to convert it into an analytical problem? So and is he thinking in the right direction? So and such kind of things like are some things which I generally look out for when I'm interviewing a fresher. So like so this is from an absolute fresher's standpoint. Say like but if a person has like say 1 or 2 years of experience, so then like then the people would have I mean mostly worked on some basics of analytics or data science concepts, right? So then it's better to then it's better to know the basic concepts in the data science and analytics side. So rather than the tools as such, so I generally test out for the basic concepts and from the data science, so that like and also if the person has worked on say a particular tool, then probably some few questions around the tool, so to understand the to understand the capability in that tool.
Sure.
So generally and also like say when people have something done extra about the work they have, say something like participation in the community like analytics, if they are like done some blog posts on their own or done some say hackathons on their own, then that shows some extra interest that the person has put in apart from his regular work. So that's something which also generally people and I also look out for.
Sure. Great. So if I were to, kind of take the common threads, I would say typically freshers definitely need to have good business sense and problem solving capabilities. And then they kind of should expect that they will get tested on that. Depending on the role you are getting in, so if the company deals with big data, you can expect questions on how to handle things at that scale. If you're in consultancy role, you might expect some questions or rounds around presenting your insights or visualization, and not necessarily too much of technical or machine learning things, which typically get a lot of limelight. A quick question on the before we kind of move to the next audience. So especially on the business thinking side, it's a kind of a difficult one to develop, right? So so how do you develop business thinking? Can you suggest some of the ways or resources, anyone in the panel, what fresher or someone with less experience can do to become better at problem solving skills?
Right. So let me take a shot at it, Kunal. This is Shekhar. So, from a fresher perspective, my advice would be to get hands on as many case studies as possible. So there's a lot of case studies available on the internet and on the management literature, especially. Maybe the case studies are not really data analytics case studies. It doesn't matter. Maybe it's a advertisement, it's a marketing case study, or it's a supply chain case study, or it's a finance case study.
Yeah.
But the whole aspect is that there is going to be a problem. There's going to be a set of constraints. There's going to be a set of business deliverables. There's going to be a set of paths or multiple ways in which the problem can be solved. So what basically reading those case studies or those approaches is going to kind of give us perspectives, right? So they're going to add to the perspectives. And the more perspectives freshers are able to develop, the more likely they are going to scale up as they move along. So somebody who takes about 10 years to develop those kind of abilities, or that skills and that perspective, if that person would have done it a little bit more scientifically, I would give that person about 5-6 years to reach the same level of wisdom. And that's how some people actually move faster than other people, right? And it's not really because one is intelligent with respect to the other, but it's about how you approach your personal development and the right set of tools that you use. So one is case studies. Second is there's a lot of so if you go to Google and try to Google consulting toolkit, right? So you get a lot of methods or a lot of structured tools that you can use to solve different type of problems. So there are a lot of brainstorming ways. There are more than 50 ways and you can do a brainstorming. There's a more than dozen ways to solve a problem. Okay, frameworks. I'm talking about the structured frameworks that you can take. So what you got to do is you got to kind of understand, okay, how to negotiate, right? How to get your point across, how to influence others, right? How to make sure that you're communicating in a very constructive and clear and concise way, your point of view across to people, right? So there are some communication frameworks also. So what I'm trying to tell is that I don't want everybody to do a PhD in consulting tools, but what I would like them to do is to kind of go and explore some of these and select whichever they are comfortable with. Correct. And start to practice that in their daily lives. Okay, so your daily life, every single day we are negotiating with different people. We are negotiating with our parents, we are negotiating with our girlfriends, we are negotiating with our wives, we are negotiating with our kids, we are negotiating with our friends, right? So try and use those methods and try and use those, and there are problems every single day as a common human being, right? So try and see if those are working for you, because if those are working for you, then be rest assured that those will work for you in the business side also. So these are a couple of ways in which I think people can start on a self learning journey on developing some of these things. And then obviously when it comes to business understanding, there's no other way but to kind of get inside the hot pond, right? So select an area that you like. If you like supply chain, select an area. So to maybe a retail or maybe an e-commerce companies, or maybe last mile retailers, etc. Somebody who deals with supply chain a lot, and try to kind of get inside that kind of companies so that you understand that business, the processes, the standards, the way industry is working, and all those things more closely. If you like finance, then go for a banking sector company or go for a financial institute, and kind of understand. And within banking also, there are many areas that you might want to get into, right? So if you like credit scoring or risk modeling, or if you write wholesale credit, then there are different areas. So maybe you can read about the areas that you are interested about, try to understand, or try to go through life in a day of, right? Life in a day of a trader, life in a day of a banker, life in a day of a supply chain engineer, right? So then you understand what these guys are dealing with, and then you can select a field that you want to get into, and then target specifically those companies, and see what you can do from a data perspective, from a analytics perspective, and in your interviews, if you can project that across to the interviewer, then that person will be very much interested in your profile, because that person will think that, okay, this guy is really understanding what my business is talking the same language that I'm talking, and at the same point in time, he's suggesting some things which we can try out from an analytics perspective. So that really gives you a lot of credibility.
That definitely helps. So some really good tips there, starting from the consulting toolkit and a few other resources to actually applying things in day-to-day life. So I think that definitely gives a good understanding of what the company or what recruiters expect. let me move to the next, kind of group of people who are, so let's say for people who have been in industry for a few years, so maybe uh, 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 let's say 2 to 3 years or more in analytics, and then we'll come to people who don't have experience in analytics later on, but higher experience. But for now, let's look at people who are in analytics already and are in a data science role. What are some of the ways in which you think they should go about upskilling themselves and learning the next thing? And let me this time start from SRK. So SRK, what are some of the ways you would suggest to people to kind of upskill themselves when they are in industry?
Okay, great. Okay, so yeah. So okay, yeah. So the thing is like, so data science as a field is still an emerging field. So and it's like not like a software field which has been there for several years. So there are new tools or like new techniques that has been coming up each and every day. So in this field, so there are many research papers that have been coming up each and every day. So and new tools as well, are new techniques as well. So it's absolutely necessary for people, like irrespective of their irrespective of their experience rate, whether it is like say 2-3 years or like people with 6-7 years. So it's definitely uh, uh, I mean, it's definitely the people should equip themselves with the new things that are coming up. So uh, probably, so say some of the methods are like take some of the online courses which are available. So if the person is comfortable with the structured data, so most probably like people deal with structured data in their initial years. So then like people learning courses such as NLP or like unstructured image related techniques like deep learning. So once they have a better understanding of the basic concepts, so then that will be much better. So yeah, so that I think like online courses and analytics Vidhya blogs will be helpful for in such cases, and also like taking part in hackathons and other stuff will help as well.
Okay. One of the thanks for that, SRK. And I have a kind of follow-up question which I'll want to actually address to both you and Vishwaroop. So one of the common questions which people have is so how relevant are these hackathon or Kaggle problems in real life? Are real life problems so structured, or how do these competitions help in real life? And it would be good to hear from both of you what would be your perspective.
That's a great question, in fact. So probably if Vishwaroop wants to answer it first, I'll let it to him, or else I'll go first.
You can go first. I just wanted to add one comment because
yeah, sure.
Because my feedback is mixed. Like I have heard companies calling Kaggle and Analytics Vidhya just like a playground for kids or something like that. And some of the companies call that like, those are very great platforms, and they really, they really want to recognize your talent in those platforms. So people and companies have mixed feeling about this kind of platforms. From and so on the point of how relevant actually these kind of platforms are. So why don't SRK, you go ahead, and then if anything else I'll just add it.
Yeah, sure, Vishwaroop. Yeah, thanks for that as well. Okay, so so this question I have also came across many times in the past as well. So like people would be asking me as well. Okay, so to answer this, say like I mean, so what people generally claims say about hackathon, say like Kaggle or Analytics with the hackathon, is that like people generally end up winning these competitions using like Frankensteinian ensembles, like hundreds of models put together, and like say you end up winning a hackathon, and like in a real life situation, yeah, it's very definitely very tough to implement so many models in a production real life scenario. So like as everyone knows very well that like even the Netflix one hasn't got implemented, so the price, I mean the winner. So the thing is, but okay, so then what are all the advantages I see from the from participating in say Kaggle or the Analytics Vidhya hackathon? So like the thing is like okay, so irrespective of that, so it helps me develop my skills in the structured thinking way. So like say when there are a problem that comes in, like I can like so that those problems will be from different domains. Say if a person works in an consulting background, so since one gets to address different kinds of problems from different domains, so it will help think so understand different domains as well, and also like say understand that domain in a much better way, and help think about the features that we can create from the given data set and so on. So and also it will help understand the basic concepts which we learn from the say courses. So the courses we can learn the basic concepts, but so once we learn the basic concepts, so to when we apply these basic concepts through these competitions and other stuff, so then like we will I mean say like hands-on is on any given day is better than the theoretical course we take, right? So we will get a much better and deeper understanding of all these concepts through these hackathons. So that's one thing. And also like say and someone has also mentioned in this things as well, like people won't be getting opportunities to work on different types of problems in their work as well. So that's also one reason for me. Say like you more in most of the times you'll be confined to a particular domain or a particular problem to work on. So say when you participate in this thing, so like you will get to explore the different methodologies. So whatever that comes to you as a research paper yesterday, you could try it out on the data set which you have trying in the competitions today. So probably it will be helpful for you tomorrow. So all these things are some important facts which I think apart from, so even though those ensembles are not helpful in a real life production environment in the final day, but these are some of the important learnings that we can get by participating in the hackathons. Yeah, Pishurup, you could add as well.
Yeah, so you summarized the points pretty good, and I completely second you on your opinion on the part that where you said it's better than some theoretical course in Coursera and Udemy. I completely second you on that. And one more thing is that in competitions like Kaggle and Hackathon, whatever you do at the end of the day, you will learn something, right? So and one of the best thing about doing learning is best mode of learning is self-learning, and I think this kind of competitions promotes that, right? So you can go into a course, do the course, and come back with a certificate in 2 months, but the thing is that if you think carefully what exactly you have in your bag, and after you complete a Kaggle competition or an Analytics Vidhya hackathon, after 3 months, and you put together all your ideas and all the models you have built, all the knowledge you have gathered from the discussion panel and from the forums, I think you learn quite a bit, because when you do self-learning, you ask questions, and not always ask questions to forum and discussion, you ask questions to yourself, and then you try to solve that problem. So that builds the capability that I was talking about, that builds the capability, problem solving capability in yourself. So, and you get the confidence that I can do it, which is lacking in case of any particular theoretical course or everything. So there's nothing to lose. I mean, you can definitely, whatever you do, you at the end of the day, you will come back with a very good amount of knowledge and in predictive modeling and statistical modeling.
Yeah. Thanks, Vishnu, for that as well. And yeah, I'm also so I've actually seen people learning and changing their learning trajectory after participating in hackathons and these competitions. So they kind of push you beyond what you know, and it's a good way to learn some of the recent changes which are happening in industry, and see what other data scientists are doing to solve similar problems.
So yeah, I just add one point, Kunal. When
Yeah.
so on that point, when I started Kaggle, I really didn't have any kind of idea what XGBoost is. But in my
Right.
first competition itself, the Spring Leaf,
Mhm.
I learned that, and I ended up being on the 77th position, which and that gave me in turn the kind of the confidence that I can do it. Going ahead. So I was talking about this kind of confidence that you get from these competitions, which you don't get in the courses or any other mode of learning. Yeah.
Yeah.
So please go ahead.
Yeah, great. Any other thing with you would want to add, Bishwarup, for the on the learning part for experienced people, apart from what SRK mentioned already?
You mean on the how I think the question we were discussing was like how relevant Kaggle and analytics with this kind of
Yeah.
platforms
So
are.
I was going back to the original question from this, from which this question popped up later on. So for people who have some experience in domain, what so what are some of the ways they can learn? And hackathons and competitions is obviously one way. Any other ways you would recommend? So SRK said about courses and some other ways to learn or upskill yourself. Any other thing you would want to add to that?
I'm not sure here because but I'm not sure about the courses and other modes of learning because Kunal, as I already wrote in one of my articles that I never attended these courses. I only learned by browsing Stack Overflow and everything, Kaggle forums. So so I don't have anything to add of how to learn, but I might have something to add on what to learn because if you follow the trend, go back like 5 to 10 years. Companies will ask you like a simple logistic regression, do the logistic regression on MCross and data frame, and if you can do that, well, you are good to go. But the trend has been changing. I mean, it has already changed, and it will be changing in the next few years. The whole landscape of data science is moving from structured data to unstructured data, which I think the point that SRK briefly touched. Okay,
sure.
So I think. And it's very intuitive because most of the data dumps that we maintain in our servers or the companies maintain in their huge, enterprise data warehouses are kind of unstructured.
Yeah.
Okay, 90%. I'll say almost 90% of the data are unstructured. Okay, so from that point, it is very necessary for us to learn the methods and the technologies which deal with this kind of unstructured data. So at that point, it comes NLP and image recognition and everything. The deep learning, the idea of deep learning comes through, and every service almost are being automated at this moment. Almost you take marketing analytics, there are thousands of products. You take customer analytics, there are a lot of products. So people are building products, and for that product capabilities, maybe if not today, but tomorrow it will be essential for all of the data science community to learn at least one of the lower level languages like Java, C, or C++, because one of my friends actually work in Flipkart, and I know how things. So this type of companies also want you to implement the solution, not just build the solution, also implement the solution. And when you go about implementing this kind of solution, you need to have some kind of idea of Java, C, and C++, where you can actually see the implement the solution in real time. So I think if not today, going ahead, I think you should learn this kind of language as well.
Right, and your kind of recommendation is to go hands-on and try out things yourself before, rather than relying on courses or something.
Yeah, course. I'm not saying that the courses are useless. Okay, but because I at this moment actually I am thinking of learning Java, and I'm thinking of learning course from Udemy. And I don't know if that will help me, but looking at the content, I think the content is pretty rich. So I'm not saying they are worthless, but I think even if you're doing the course, I mean, think about itself. Don't just solve the question they pose. Also pose questions to yourself and try to solve things differently, and think of what could have done differently. This kind of stuff, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Professor Bappa, kind of the next stage to you. So how do you think, are there any structured, programs or any courses which are there for kind of more experienced people in the industry, or what are some of the ways you think they can upskill themselves?
Yeah. So, see, we are talking about data science primarily, right?
Yeah,
And then my sense is the following, right? For something like data science, one is I completely agree that people learning on their own end up learning it much better than when it is taught, right? Now, that's very plain to see because analytics is not a very old discipline.
Yeah.
So the teachers who teach analytics today, they were all self-taught.
Yeah.
This discipline by definition was not there, right?
Correct.
Now, when we look at people who have learned through various kind of competitions, etc., and all, what we tend to forget is these are very self-driven guys. Okay? And that is why I would rate people doing well in this competitions like Kaggle or Analytics Vidhya are pretty good because these guys have pushed themselves to learn on their own. They are very self-driven guys. But for whatever reason, most of the guys who are doing analytics are not so self-driven. So they might need some kind of a guided learning. And that's where some amount of guided learning would be there. If you compare the output of a guy who has come out of a guided learning program and a person who has come out of cracking the Kaggle, so the analytics Vidhya, my guess is the guys who have managed to crack, come out from the second one would do better, and they would do better not because these competitions are good because they were very self-driven to begin with. That's one important thing. The second, when I'm looking at how does one prepare? Again, for something like a data science, we have to be very clear about what is the kind of role where we fit in. Now, large part of what we do in data science, or people do all over in data science, is there are a whole lot of algorithms out there, and you are trying to get efficient to find out what is the best combination to solve a problem. Nothing wrong in that. 90% of the problems are solved by 90% of the people in 90% of the time. That's the way. The other part of data science, which is the most challenging one, and for that where you probably need the PhDs, etc., is actually developing a new algorithm. For example, linear algebra is extremely important because if you're looking at a big data, it's not about being able to is being able to separate the data into various clusters or various Hadoop. You can do it in separate ones, but the important thing is, can I mathematically combine the end results? Because if I have an n cross n matrix, and if I divide into k submatrices, I can compute those individual ones, but I may not be able to combine them back. And that's exactly what we need in terms of that part. So when we're looking at data science, the second part would need a very, very focused kind of training. The first part, to actually crack the first part, all you need to have is a lot of interest, see how people have solved the problems. And by the time we finish this webinar, there would have been a better code written in some software which can solve the problem better, right? From the time we started and by the time we end this, I think somebody will get better. And so therefore, that's really not the part. And my worry, I don't want to sound very prophetic. My worry is that if we try to skill ourselves only in terms of implementing the algorithms, we are the first ones who are going to lose the job to the machine, because the machine is going to pick up the right algorithm and do it much better than what we can do. So therefore, we have to look at what is it that the machine cannot do. It's kind of formalizing the problem. That would require training, that's combining, and also keeping your eyes and ears open and see how does one solve it. For a specific question that what kind of programs an advanced data scientist people would require, and therefore I don't think a program which just learns about how to apply the techniques is something they would require or benefit from. If somebody really wants to invest as an advanced data science, he has to get into the deep depth and try to see what's the new algorithm which I can create, what's the new result in linear algebra or stochastic combination which I can do. It's basically going more towards a deeper learning in terms of the formal structure. Otherwise, just being aware of this kind of algorithms which you're doing, that should be good enough.
Sure. Thanks a lot. That's very interesting insight. Shekhar, so while we have focused a lot on the technical work and the hands-on work, one of the areas which we haven't necessarily talked is people who have been in analytics but are in, let's say, business-facing roles or are interacting with customers directly. In those kind of setups, how do you continuously keep upskilling yourself, and then how do you kind of make sure that you're aware of the technical side of things and at the same time are interacting with customers and understanding their problems?
Right. So, I basically divide the box of data analytics into 4 categories, right? One is data scientist, who is my core architect for the entire project, right? I mean, somebody who basically is very, very technical and is a mentor for my junior staff, right?
Yeah.
Then I have data engineers, who are people who have the ability to design systems which can go into production, which are able to implement whatever data scientists are able to kind of model and into a real environment. And then I have data analysts, who are basically people supporting data scientists in actual realization of the model and getting the pieces together. And then there is a 4th category, which I call consultants, right? And I believe that this is the kind of people that you are talking about, wherein the consultant is basically somebody who is at the center of the intersection of 3 things. One is technology, the other is business, and the third is data science, right?
Yeah.
So you have to have your foot in all the 3 areas so that you're able to relate to whatever is going around the business side from a customer perspective, the technology side from a feasibility perspective, and data science side from a connecting perspective of whether this problem can really be solved using data science or not, because not all problems can actually be solved. So you can't really say that analytics is going to solve world hunger, right?
Yeah.
So analytics might help in solving some pieces of world hunger, but it's not the only solution, right? It's not a magic pill.
Yeah.
Right? So for the consultants, it's very important to stay really agnostic. What I mean by agnostic is that you really don't get pulled into one particular aspect or a domain. So like, for example, deep learning, or for example, big data technologies, or maybe distributed machine learning kind of setups, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you know what is a distributed ML system, maybe you know what the deep learning system is, maybe you know what regression models do, but you really don't need to get into the very depth of the things. What you need to know is at a very horizontal level, if you can scale as much breadth as possible, that would really help you. From an industry perspective or a business perspective, my advice is stick to a couple of industries that you like. So you might want to pick up retail, you might want to pick up BFSI, and then just concentrate on BFSI and retail, right? Because that's enough. More than enough to kind of consume your time and appetite and your experience. Because if you split yourself across what's happening in online space, e-commerce, if you want to do retail also, if you want to do insurance also, if you want to do manufacturing also, you will not be able to kind of understand everything together, right? So try to get yourself around 2 to 3 industries that you really like. And the best part to do over there is to kind of look into the industry journals. So every industry has their own journals, their flagship journals, which are published, which talk more from an industry perspective as to what is going around in that industry. Look into Gartner and Forrester research for your industry specific areas to keep yourself updated, because this is what your clients are looking at. Okay, so if you stand in front of a chief marketing officer for an e-commerce company, then he'll know what the latest numbers are for the market, and he's going to talk about that particular aspect, or he's going to know about what is the latest programmatic ad platform that is there in the market. And if you don't relate to that knowledge, you'll certainly be looked at, okay, this guy is not worth the money that I'm paying him for, right? So from an industry perspective, select your industries and focus on some of the journals and some of these blogs which are industry specific, so that they are giving you enough knowledge on the process level on what's happening, what's new, what are the big movers, shakers, etc., who are there on that industry platform. Try to see if you can attend those events, and this is only for consultants. Okay, I'm not talking about data analysts and engineering guys, but people who are in, expected to kind of go and sell analytics in front of the clients, and also kind of do consulting assignments, right? So see if you can go to some of these industry events that you have. Select one or two industry events that you think are really flagship events. Go to your managers, say that you need to be there, and they need to find some budget to kind of make sure that you are participating in those events. This is where you build your networking. So events are not for learning, but building your networking. So you connect with your industry focus there. You kind of understand panels, who is there in the panels, who are people who you can connect with offline, who can mentor you in that particular industry, so that your industry connect is also going very strong. And the third and very important piece that is currently becoming very, very prominent today is technology, right? So it is very important for you to understand how businesses are running today. So every business is now a technology business, okay? Or more and more businesses are becoming technology businesses, right? So it's no longer really a business concept, but it's a mix of technology and business coming together. So by technology, I mean, what is the strategy that your industry is currently taking? So for example, banking. So when you talk about fintech, what are we really talking about? When you talk about blockchain, what are we really talking about? Where the industry is moving from a technology perspective. The industry is going big data wise. So is it going to open source technologies, or are they still running on appliances like Netezza and Greenplum, etc.? And do they wish to continue on that? Because then you will be able to kind of understand how you want to get your analytics into production, because these are the systems, these are the technologies that the companies are using. So the core banking systems, for example, travel. If you want to understand about travel, then there are only two GDSs in the world which basically control 80% of the travel market. Amadeus and Galileo, right? So so what do you know about them? So why are they so important, right? So from a technology perspective, keep yourself updated from an industry technology perspective. Again, events which are specific to that perspective. And more importantly, the best source for this particular technology related information is go to websites like ibm.com or infosys.com or capgemini.com, etc. Go to their industry pages and just look at that, because these companies are technology companies. They're going to only talk about technology.
Sure.
So you're going to find out a lot of information about what IBM is doing for their banking clients, what Infosys is doing for their banking clients, right? What Oracle is doing for their banking clients. So when you mix these three things together, technology, business, and data science, then you will become a much more accepted consultant, and let's say the clients will kind of be wanting more and more of you. So you'll keep on getting repeat projects, etc. So that's how you basically succeed in consulting.
Sure. Thanks, Shekhar. So again, some really good nuggets of information, and I think those are really relevant pieces of advice for a consultant starting from being part of the flagship events to staying agnostic. I think that's very, very well made points. I'll now quickly move on to the kind of last set of people in the segmentation I laid out earlier. So people who are in a business manager role or are in leaders role, and then they want to kind of learn analytics, and then maybe some of them actually want to even transition, but they do come with a lot of experience along with them in a specific domain. So how do you start getting So how do you prepare, or how do you start understanding what analytics is when you've spent a lot of time in business, and then how do you start adopting it in your kind of day-to-day role to start with? So Professor Bappa, if I were to ask that question to you, especially given the interest which a lot of business leaders are seeing in analytics and data science, what would be your advice?
Yeah, see, primarily, one of the things with a lot of very senior people in the business domain who come and join the course, wanting to learn analytics, is that they say that, there are a lot of decisions which we have taken, and that is based on gut feeling or whatever experience which we have. But we do see that the world or the scenarios are changing very, very dynamically. And we do have a lot of data. So can we actually make better predictions, a better model based on, the data which we have?
Mm-hmm.
So basically what they are looking at is, if our system generates a huge amount of data, is there something which we traditionally do, which we are missing, and the data can help us, identify patterns or things differently. That's one of the main things, people from, this huge experience industry come in.
Mm-hmm.
There are other, we also get people from, people in the, who do not want to, they're very senior people, they do not necessarily want to be a data science or run a model, whatever the model be, but they do appreciate that analytics is important, and to build up a team, they want to understand, what is the analytics all about, because how can there are a few things which just that the data pattern kind of tells you, which otherwise you were doing things traditionally and you realize that you have been losing the business.
Mm-hmm.
For example, often, if I talk about even the government, and I personally believe that probably the biggest innovation and the biggest, the future of analytics is really with the government, because all other industries have been using analytics. We are just trying to get better in what we are doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is one sector where they have not used analytics. They're sitting on huge amount of data, and they can virtually do anything they can, you can offer them to do. There's a lot of scope to be done. Now, the government often approaches and say, we have a huge amount of transaction which takes place under various kind of programs, etc. and all. Can we actually use that data to be able to say something? Who is going to pay tax, or which is the area which is going to get flooded, which is the district where there is going to be a bad agricultural crop. And for that, they basically need two things. That first, can we capture the data and you help them how to kind of create a database, and then do very, very simple analysis. So, for at that level, people are not really trying to look at very high-end models. It's basically the importance of a data, and a data-driven decision can either support what you are doing, or actually entirely open a new decision. So really, it's not about so much of learning the algorithm, but appreciating that data can actually give you a completely new perspective to the whole problem.
Sure. Great. SRK, Bishwaroop, or Shekhar, anything you would want to add for that audience who have a lot of experience in business and then want to either get started in analytics or maybe completely transition into analytics? What would you advise to people like?
Okay, so let me just take a crack at it. Apart from what Professor just mentioned, I would advise people who are already in a particular domain and who have basically, reached a mid-career, as or at least spent about 8, 9, 10 years in that industry. My suggestion would be to find analytics applications or use cases within the domain that they are working with. The reason I want to make that comment is because what happens is that if you want to kind of change a domain for getting into analytics, you'll have to start at a lower end, right? So there's a possibility that you might lose your seniority. There's a possibility that you might have to take a cut in your salary levels also. So the suggested approach that I at least feel is, let's say that somebody is in software engineering, for example, and has been doing development for the last 10 years, is respectable at a respectable salary level, respectable position. My suggestion is that how you can get analytics within software engineering. There are use cases. There are use cases in software quality testing. There are use cases in continuous delivery, continuous integration, and DevOps side. There's a lot of analytics on applications that is coming up. Okay, so think about areas of application and use cases of analytics within your domain. Start a couple of projects. Talk to your manager about some of these projects and ask him to kind of give him some time, or give some mandate to you to execute those projects. Show the company that this is something that you guys can do, and get a buy-in and get some business results right around your area itself. Then what happens is that you are kind of creating a different space for yourself within your domain itself. So you're not giving up your salary levels, you're not giving up your position, but at the same time you're giving companies something that they are missing today, and they will value you for that. It will actually help you grow faster in your current role, and maybe tomorrow it can be looked upon as a very interesting area for the company to explore, and if the business results are really great, they can actually ask you to lead some of these analytics initiative full time also, right? So my suggested approach is this. The second approach is getting into a pure play consulting type of role, wherein your business expertise is used in addition to your data science or analytics knowledge.
Okay, great. Thanks again, Shekhar, for that. So I think we now have close to 25 minutes. Let me just start taking some of the questions from a Q&A portal, and I'll start addressing them, and then we can kind of take them. So the first question is actually to Vishwaroop, or overall to any one of the panelists, that share your challenges while solving hackathons and how did they deal with cutting edge technology. So if you can explain one of example of some competition which kind of challenged you to build something which was cutting edge. Vishwaroop or SRK, I think any of you can actually go ahead.
Yeah, hi Kunal, Vishwaroop here. So the thing is that in Kaggle or analytics with your hackathons, the thing is that you need to minimize a particular matrix. Okay, in particular business, in a business scenario, you might have to understand what variables are important, but this is not the case when we are doing Kaggle or analytics Vidhya. So you need to minimize. That's your end goal, right? So at that point, you try to minimize it using different models, several models. As you can, like, you try to build a number of bunch of models and then pack it together to actually minimize your loss. Okay, so it doesn't. There is no particular algorithm that you like. It's not like that. For this particular problem, I'll use this solution. For that particular problem, I'll use something another. Okay, so the thing is that bending different type of algorithms to use in different type of problem, that's also a challenge. So for suppose in my prudential I think prudential life insurance challenge where I came up 22nd, I actually used factorization machine, which is field hour factorization machines, which are used for basically used for recommendation engines. But there I just had to predict the risk. Okay, so I actually thought of how can I actually employ this type of model into that problem, and then I did it. Okay, so yeah, so there is not like that a particular problem will demand a particular algorithm from you, but it's like it's you to decide what kind of algorithms you want to blend into your solution.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, Vishwarup. SRK, would you want to add anything to what Vishwarup said, or any example you would want to share?
Okay, so I completely agree with Vishwarup, and okay, so nothing comes right from top of my mind. So I don't have much to add at the moment. So.
Sure. 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 Okay. Okay. There is a question. I think there is a lot of confusion about data preparation for various techniques. So for example, logistic regression needs different kind of data preparation, whereas decision trees need a different kind of preparation. And then the person is saying, I don't find much details on this. How do I go about solving this problem? Professor Bappa, would you want to take that? Professor Bappa, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So, can you hear me, Kunal?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello. Yeah. So when you asked the question, not everything was very clear or audible, but I have been going through the questions, and a lot of questions about what an algorithm to use, what when, and kind of data preparation and all.
Yeah.
Again, my advice is that don't focus on algorithm. Please understand what people try to do is basically come up with a predictive model or the best predictive model and not the best predictive algorithm. So it should never boil down to that this particular algorithm works. It's basically getting the algorithm with a set of science, and then how you combine them is an art, and that makes an analytics. Now if you're looking at do I have to prepare data separately for logistic regression or something else, my two bits are that there are a lot of things which we do in logistic regression which we probably are not aware, and we just very blindly do it. For example, my advice is don't run a logistic regression if all your X variables are categorical. And my two bits and why I think you should not run it is, if all your X variables are categorical, let's say, then your right hand side will have a finite lower value and a finite upper value, which means your predicted probability will have a lower finite value and finite upper value, and never asymptotically approaching 0 and 1. So these are the nuances. As you keep on working on a model, you realize. So the data which you prepare for a logistic regression is, yes, I mean, you prepare it for it to run, but there are certain things which you must always be aware and tweak a little bit so that you can get, slightly fine tune. The second reason is, when you are looking at a model, if eventually you may want to classify, right, that who is a defaulter, who is not a defaulter, who is good or who is bad. But if the client asks you, okay, if I have to move from, I have to change something little bit and convert a guy from a defaulter to a non-defaulter, what would that be? If you anticipate that this question is important, then there is going to be a separate set of models which you'll be looking at. And although the other models can give you a better, clarity or better accuracy, you may not want to do those models because you will never be able to answer those kind of questions there. So I don't think we should, get into, picking up the right model, but picking up the right methodology to answer, and which can often, will become an, combination of models. And that's why the world is moving towards an ensemble models. And very soon, we don't have to pick models. We just ask a question, and at the back end, it combines and something picks up the best answer. Okay. But while you're running the algorithm, it is good to kind of appreciate these nuances, that there are things which you can do, which you cannot do under the specific context.
Sure. Thanks, Professor. So the next question, which is there is for mean, so I think this has come multiple times as well. So, and the question is, just give me a minute. Right. There is one question for Shekhar, which is how should one go about bridging the gap between academic experience and industry experience? I guess the person is trying to so person has covered some courses, but there is a gap between what some courses teach versus what industry expects.
Right. So that is going to be a problem, not just for data science, but I think it's a problem today with between our academic institutions and between what industry really wants. And I think that gap is something that probably I don't see it get bridging, because the pace at which the industry moves is much faster than what you can expect from academic institutions or the general education policy to kind of churn that fast, right? It's not possible to do that. So my advice is that if you can find, first of all, you need to understand where is your aptitude, or where is your liking for. So if you like what is being done in the chemical industry or pharma industry, or if you feel that your inclination is towards banking or financial institute, so first narrow down the choices to 3 or 4 such areas, right, where you really want to kind of be part of. Second is to look into if you can get some mentors in this particular industries, right? So maybe you can connect through LinkedIn, maybe you can connect through some of these industry events that are happening, or maybe you can connect with through your parents' network or something like that, right? Or your friends' network, to people who have been in some of these industries that you want to get into. And start a mentorship kind of a dialogue with them, so that they can guide you to very specific resources that actually based on your interest, your profile, your aptitude, they can be able to give you one-on-one coaching to kind of slowly get you acquainted with that industry domain, and also maybe they can get you some internship opportunities, or they can get you some employment opportunities through their networks, right? So I would suggest a mentoring coaching kind of a relationship to bridge that gap, as in the best option that comes to my mind, at least for now.
Sure. Thanks.
And obviously the second one would be to kind of get a job in that particular industry itself. But again, it's the chicken and egg problem, right? So if you go to the interview, they will ask, okay, how many years of experience do you have in this field? And then that becomes a catch-22 situation, right? So our Indian, again, our companies have not matured enough to understand that that type of recruitment is not going to kind of work going in coming years, but slowly HR is kind of understanding that, and hopefully they will give people chances, or they will give good people chances to get into or change industry very frequently, or get into multiple industries from a career perspective. I think that trend is very evident in the West, but it's not yet very much in India. But I see the Indian trend going into that direction as well. So just a matter of time.
Sure. Thanks, Shekhar. And so Vishwarup, I know you were setting up a GPU yesterday. So there is a question on what's the best way to start learning deep learning, and then how do you get prepared to apply them for competitions. So I'll address that to you.
So you want me to explain the steps to set up a GPU?
No, not the GPU. So so if a person wants to start in deep learning.
I got it. So yeah, I mean, so essentially, I would say like deep learning is a fancy term, right? But at the end, the crux it's a neural network. Okay, so and it has been there for like neural network has been there for like a long time, but it was not actually applied to different tasks like we do today, like image recognition, video and audio tagging, or some NLP, maybe sequence tagging, or a speech recognition, this kind of stuff. So this has actually become very popular these days, and many people think that it's something different. So to start with deep learning, what I will say, to learn the maths in details, yeah, okay, because you have to learn the maths of the basic neural network, because when it gets to convolutional neural network, or like recurrent neural networks, which are employed in NLP and image recognition, this get completely very complicated. So if you are not clear with the ideas, how the neuron fires, and how the architecture works from a particular layer to different layer, you will not follow what is going on inside a convolution neural network. And while implementing, suppose you are doing a Kaggle competition, and you are doing something in Keras, you will not be able to understand what figure or what kind of features you are actually feeding into your network, and what that network is expected to spit out. So that is the thing, like you have to understand the basic structure of the neural network. There are very good blogs in there's one website called Neural Network for Deep Learning, which is very helpful. I actually followed that blog while I started with deep learning. So my suggestion would be, start learning what is neural network, how the different type of layers connect to each other, what is the different type of type activation functions, rectifier units, and everything. Regularization, you learn about that. You learn in small parts, and then you go about learning deep networks like LSTM or ConvNets. In that way only, I think you will be successfully implementing a deep neural network from scratch going ahead. So that will be my suggestion to the folks.
Sure. Thanks, Vishnu.
Yeah, great.
I
completely agree with Bisharup on that point. So I just wanted to add a few more things. So basically, like apart from the ones which Bisharup mentioned, so some of the courses which I found to be very helpful, at least for me, is like say there is a great course by Jeff Hinton on Coursera. Probably it's an old course, but it's still there, and the videos are available. So that's a very good course to start with on the basics of the neural networks and stuff. So, and if one wants to learn more, so there is a course called Convolutional Neural Networks for Image Recognition by Stanford. And if one wants to learn deep learning for an NLP, so there is an actually course called Deep Learning for NLP by Richard Socher of so these courses will generally be more helpful. So, and apart from that, so basic the blog posts in the Analytics Vidhya as well. So these are some of the courses which I found to be very helpful. So from a hackathon or competition standpoint, so if one wants to learn deep learning, I think someone also mentioned in the chat window, so that's a smaller course by Jeremy Howard, so in fast.ai, so which is very helpful. So if you want to get a state-of-the-art results using the recent deep learning technologies. Yeah, so that's something which I wanted to add as well.
Sure. Thanks, Sarke, for that. Professor Bappa, there is again a very interesting question. This person is asking that how can we use data science for social good and social upliftment? So how with data science can we serve society and people at large? So the same question has come in 2-3 forms, and then I know that's one area which you are very excited about. So what are your some of the thoughts which people can apply?
You mean data science in terms of policy making? Is it?
So the question is broad, that how can we use data science to serve society and people at large? but policy making is one of the ways, or use it within government if you can.
Right. I mean, okay. So yes, it is kind of pretty close to my heart, and whatever my experience with government and whatever policy making is, I think data science is probably the only way forward, because what happens whenever we are trying to solve a problem which is very unstructured, involving people about whom we don't have data, we don't have transaction, there is what we call a lot of moral hazard problem, in the sense the data which is generated, and if you go and ask questions, the responses which you get, etc., are very vague. So the best way to solve those problems is to take that vagueness away and rely on something which cannot be manipulated. For example, there is a part of data which captures everything which I do, whom do I speak with, and however, we have very little idea about 50% of our population, what is it that they do for a living. Now, we cannot go and ask questions, but we have to use a lot of data science techniques. So one of the examples which I will give, which one of the firms they are doing, and I've been working with them a little bit, is basically we are trying to look at the problem of agricultural productivity, and if one can map issues like how the farm productivities can be done to the leaf cover ratio and the leaf cover index, then you have basically map the rural poverty. So there is a lot of scope which will eventually the government will use. The only thing which we need to do is that we have to understand that government cannot just buy an idea because it looks very good, because it has other kind of constituencies which when they must satisfy that this is a good idea. So we have to probably work a little bit more and say, if this we implement it, this is really going to work, and it is not. It's a low risk of failure. This is something which is slightly different from when we look at a corporate client, because they are willing to take a risk, but governments are very hesitant to take a risk. So I think people who want to use data science to solve problems, involving policies or the society, has to get it slightly more accurate, because the one thing which you'll have to show is that the probability of failure is pretty low, because in usual government setup, they would look at that as a very important parameter. And of course, there are a lot of domains on which we can use.
Sure. Thanks, Professor Bhatta, for that. So final question, I think we are just 3 minutes left, and then I'll address that to Shekhar. So Shekhar, the question is, what are the differences which you see while working for a data science products based company versus a services based company? And then how should one go about deciding which company to join?
Right. So, okay. So services companies actually are more interesting, according to me. The reason is because you really get to work with a lot of different type of clients and different industries and different type of problems you get to solve. When you go for a product company, then the product company has to address a very target market. So products are designed for target markets, right? So you will have a product like Ola, which is designed for transport, transportation needs, right? So if you are going to kind of have going to work for Ola, the kind of problems that you're going to solve is more around the transportation domain, as well as customer service related areas, or maybe some marketing related areas that they might have. But if you really want to kind of solve something in the pharma sector today, and maybe 1 year down the line you want to kind of experiment in the insurance sector, that kind of flexibility, that kind of movement opportunity, you can get in a service company only, because you can have multiple careers within the same company. That is the only difference between service and product. The second, and this is from a career perspective, and what you basically want to kind of if you're bored by doing the same thing over and over again, from a technology point of view, or from a methods point of view, I don't really see much of a difference, because in both products as well as services companies, the scale or the maturity of whatever you do has to keep on increasing. So tomorrow, if you have to use deep learning methods and that is the norm, that is going to become the norm in your field, then yes, then it needs to be used both in as part of your product also and as part of your service delivery also. So in a nutshell, basically, if you're in a product company, then maybe you will get to use those technology a little bit earlier than it will percolate to the service side, because services company generally wait and watch unless things become a little stable and they can actually build a solution around by using some of the products, as well as putting their own processes in place and creating a service model. They will not go to a client and commit to deliver something. So typically service companies are approximately 1 to 3 years behind the best-in-class product in that particular technology or methodology perspective. Okay, so that is the only difference. So between the two of it, if you really want to work on cutting-edge things, like if you want to kind of use the latest GPU on the market, you will probably get it only in a product-based company and not in a service-based company, because there's no service built around, let's say, deep learning modeling today that I know of, at least. So people keep on talking about deep learning and the applications of deep learning. There are very few service companies today actually building a solution around that and trying to sell that in the market, and very few have actually even got some money out of it, right? So it is still a domain of product companies, and I see at least 1 to 3 years for it to kind of come into the service domain. So it depends upon where you want to finally balance between moving to different projects and doing different things versus doing cutting edge and cool things in one particular area, right? So if you can answer that question for yourself, you can decide whether you want to go to a service-based company or a product-based company.
Sure. Thanks, Jadhav. Thanks a lot to all the panelists. So thanks, Vishwaroop. Thanks, SRK. Thanks, Professor Bappa. I think the community has benefited tremendously. I can see people getting answers to a lot of questions. There were some which we could not take, but I'm sure we'll arrange few more avenues for the community to get, again ask these questions. So thanks a lot for taking time out on Saturday evening for all the panelists and for the community members. Make sure you check out DataFest and then the competitions coming up. So there is a machine learning hackathon starting tomorrow, and there are a bunch of practice problems going live immediately. So thanks a lot. Thanks for your time, and thanks for taking time out.
Thank you, Kunal. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, Professor.
Thanks, Kunal.
Thanks,
everyone in the community.
Thanks, Vishnu.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, the recording would be available. We'll share the link with all the panelists, and it is anyway available on Facebook Live as well, so people can look at it there as well. Thank you.